Hi everyone, Menachem Brodie here with you once again from the Human Vortex Training studio, our strength training studio, bike fitting studio, and our all-around training studio. So we're going to get into strength training today. A lot of you guys have been emailing me and messaging me from my USA Cycling Coaches presentations on strength training for cycling, as well as here on YouTube, saying, hey, your name keeps coming up for strength training for cycling success. What do I need to do to get better on the bike? So that's what we're going to jump into today. Okay, now it's very important, guys. I'm wearing 3 different pieces of equipment that are here to help you be able to understand and see the movement much better. So the first thing is I have my black Sport Full Second Skin top. No, I'm not getting paid to do this. Then we have my shorts, my Jordana shorts with a solid dark blue panel in the front, a light blue panel with a line up the side, and I have my yellow Aso socks. Now, these are important pieces because I want you to see and understand exactly what you need to do, because positioning, just like positioning on the bike, is important. Even more so for strength training, because we want to have a nice strong chassis, that's the rib cage, the spine, and the pelvis, to allow us to have that preferred movement pattern on the bike where we're rolling those together as opposed to flopping all over. I know that looked funny, but for some of you who saw my how to sit properly on a saddle video, you noticed when I got out, my hips were doing this. Yes, I was doing that on purpose to demonstrate how most people look, but I'm going to show you today how to avoid that and how you can get stronger for your sprint, your climbing, your time trials, and just for your all-around group rides. A little bit of a long intro, we got a lot to cover, guys. Let's jump in. Okay, esercizio numero 2, exercise number 2. What we want to do is we're going to work on teaching you how to stabilize your midsection as well as firing the glute med min complex. Now this is really important to cycling because of the seated position on the bike. What often happens is the glute max muscle is going to turn off just a little bit. It may work in the sprint or when you're really climbing, but you also have the glute med min complex, which runs underneath here. And these muscles are very important for stabilizing the head of the femur, or the big upper leg bone, in the hip socket. And the weakness of these muscles is going to force that femoral head to sit a little bit deeper and bring your hips forward, because they're not able to work against the big strong muscles in the front without the help of the glute max. Okay, we'll get into that in more detail in a more formal educational setting, not when I'm in a cycling kit and you want to get your exercises. So what we want to do is we're going to hit the glute medius muscle is going to sit right underneath your belt line back here. Now this is really important. As we go through the exercise, we want to make sure we're using this muscle and not the tensor fascia latae. And the tensor fascia latae is a small muscle on the front, on the outside of the hip. Some of my athletes call it, oh yeah, it's that coffee muscle, the latte muscle. You can do that too. That muscle is going to aid in hip flexion and abduction coming away. It also ties into the IT band as well as the glute max coming down to the side. And this is a muscle that we often overuse as cyclists because we haven't properly recruited the glute med min complex. So what we're going to do is called Sideline straight leg raise is the name of this exercise that we're going to be doing here. What we like to do is we're going to lay down straight on our sides. We want to have our hand as far overhead as possible, but if you're lacking overhead mobility for that shoulder, we don't want you to crank back and have an arc in your back. Instead, you can take your hand, fold it forward. If some of you need, you've been riding longer or you have a tight shoulder or this gives you pain, you can also put a soccer ball or even a pillow from a sofa underneath. Now, what we're going to do is keep the bottom leg bent for you beginners. Now, the reason this is important is we want to keep you in that neutral pelvic position, okay? So this is very important. We want to have a soft bend, not all the way forward like you're riding the bike, just very soft. Start with your legs stacked together and then bring forward about 2/3 of the way or 1/3 of the way. Now, once you have that, here's one of the most oft missed part of this exercise, guys. We want to make sure that our obliques, our stomach muscles, are fired. Our stomach muscles are fired, nice and tense right here. Okay, we don't want to crunch down, and that's what most of you are going to do. Instead, we should feel the tension taken off of our back because it's as if someone is poking our side. Okay, now, instead of poking the side, we're going to move forward to where that line between the oblique and the six-pack is, and we're going to dig the finger in nice and deep. Now, I want you to push that finger out away from you as much as possible while keeping your head back. If you notice every time you brace there, your head's coming forward, we've got a lot of work to do. But we're going to start off nice and easy here. My thumb is wrapped around the back, and I'm just going to practice a couple times bracing my midsection. Okay? So you're going to notice my head is moving a little bit. I'm going to pause my head, leave the head where it is, and I'm just going to brace my midsection. Perfect. Now I have it. I can feel my oblique firing and also around the back. Once I have that, we're going to extend the leg, and we're going to turn the toe out as much as we can, keeping the abdomen fired. Keep the toe pointed up, and we want to brace your quadricep as much as you can. Okay, now some of you may start to get a cramp back in through here. That's okay. What we want to do is take your hand, place the thumb on the bone on the front of your hip, and you're going to rotate your hand back as if you're holstering a gun. So we're going to put your thumb onto the bone on the front of the hip, and we're going to pretend as if we're holstering a gun back here. Or if you prefer, we're touching the front of the hip, and we want to find just underneath your belt line in the back. Okay? Now what most of you are going to find you're doing is you're trying to extend your leg, but your glute max is turning on, and you're not quite able to straighten that leg. Not okay. We really want to stay here and focus, and your exercise will just be focusing on extending that leg and keeping the abs nice and tight. Okay, now once we have that down, we're going to rotate that toe out just a little bit. You're going to feel a big pinching sensation or a muscle contraction back here. That's what we want. We want it back here with the ring finger and middle finger, not up front with the tensor fasciae latae. This muscle should be almost turned off. Okay, now once we have that, what we're going to do is keep our midsection braced. We're going to come up and back just a little bit with that leg, keeping that toe turned out. Now, your range of motion, guys, should not be much more than this. We're not looking for you to bring that leg all the way up where we lose the stability in through the midsection. We want to keep that quadricep fired, the abdomen fired, rotating that toe out, and we want to come up and back, only using the small muscle right back in through here. This is sideline external rotation leg lifts. Sideline leg lifts, make sure the toes stay pointed out and the foot stays flexed up, not down. Okay, that's going to make it a lot easier. Now, you guys can start off with about 3 sets of 5 each side. Make sure that you're rotating between the sides. I'm going to slide up here just a little bit so you guys can see a little bit more clear with those yellow socks. Bend the front leg or bottom leg just a little bit to the front, about 2/3 of the way. Brace the quadricep. Turn the toe out, keep the abdomen nice and tight, and then you're going to lift up and back. The abdomen should be tight the whole time. You shouldn't get halfway and then it releases. This exercise is not about range of motion, guys. It's about getting the right muscles to fire through the right range of motion with the correct stabilization. So keep everything in through the midsection nice and fired. Fire the quadricep, come up and back. It's okay if it's a small range of motion. Make sure your quadricep stays fired the whole time. And that is the exercise. 3 sets of 5 each side. This and the crocodile breathing. The crocodile breathing is going to go 4 sets of 5 breaths in, 3 seconds in through the nose. Hold for 3 seconds. 3 seconds out through the mouth. So that's your beginning exercises for strength training for the bike. I know it's not what you guys were thinking of, but these exercises are absolutely vital to your success. I've been doing this for 15 years, guys. Start off here. You will not be disappointed. You will start to see and feel a lot better on the bike. So until next time, remember to train smarter, not harder, and it is all about you.